So yellow is for the.
What's the difference?
Yellow is for the public hearing. This is just for. So we just want to make sure that.
Do we know the difference between those two? I didn't know the difference. I saw somewhere yellow and somewhere white. I didn't know the difference was.
Yeah, I was thinking it might make it easier for us to just discern.
No, 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 no. Mm-hmm.
She's doing it. Person.
Yes.
What?
Which one are we talking about? The one with the purple hair?
No, she's not the one.
Oh.
She was the person saying it's my class. But it wasn't her class. It was their teacher wasn't here, but she's not here. It's not in the school.
Right, and she was an autistic teacher,
She's not a teacher, she's.
but she was 98,
Yeah.
but she had autism and she was working with Alicia's department for a while. Yeah, she got a job. Not with
Hello.
But she's. She was.
Can we mute our mics, please?
that. Oh,
Good idea. Thanks, President Bueno.
thinking of someone else.
Thank you. Buenas tardes, nomás quería compartir si necesitaba interpretación, si visita el paseo para obtener el equipo. Gracias. Good evening. The time is 5:15. I call this meeting to order. I apologize for not being able to be there in person. My dog just had surgery last week and I need to keep observing her. But thank you to my colleagues and everybody for making this meeting still accessible virtually. So I will call this meeting at 5:15. And we're moving on to our tribal land acknowledgement. In partnership with the tribes who called Phoenix their home first, we acknowledge and respect the land our schools are built on. We commit to being a strong partner with any and all tribal nations who entrust their children to our schools. We are grateful and honored to be partners. May I get a roll call?
Roll call for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Present.
for Ms. Erica De La Rosa, for Dr. Alicia Vink,
Here.
and for Ms. Carmen Trujillo,
Present.
and also for Ms. Erica Ovalle.
With that, we have a quorum to move forward with our meeting, and please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda, do I have a recommendation from admin?
President Bueno, we recommend you adopt the agenda as it is presented.
Thank you. With that, I motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
This is Carmen Trujillo. I'll second the motion.
Vote count for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
Dr. Alicia Vink,
No.
Ms. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
With the majority, the adoption of the agenda passes, and we're moving on to public hearing. The notice of public hearing to discuss possible school closures and potential boundary changes. Notice is hereby given pursuant to ARS 15-341, 32, and 37 that a public hearing will be held on February 4th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. in the governing boardroom located at Emerson Court. The purpose of this meeting is to obtain public comment regarding the potential closure of Paul Lawrence Dunbar School and May Bartlett Hurd Elementary School, and to obtain public comment regarding potential boundary changes. The governing board is considering these actions for the following reasons: declining enrollment, financial constraints, changing demographics within the district. At this public hearing, attending members of the governing board will hear reasons for or against closing of the schools and the proposed boundary changes. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes at this time. We will begin with, we will receive a presentation, open it up to questions from board members, and then we'll move on to public comment. I will pass it over to Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President, and welcome to all of our audience members who are here today. Thank you to our board members who are present. We actually are going to present this information so that this is a level set for everybody to have, and then we're going to defer to public comment at this time, since this is the portion of the meeting that is going to be to receive public comment. What we will ask is that governing board members notate their questions and staff will follow up with those.
We do want to share that this meeting is being simulcast in Spanish, and the presentation is available in Spanish as well for our viewing audience. We want to make sure that at this time we are gathering everybody's concerns. We have been meeting with staff, with families, and with students and have documents to be able to gather each of the concerns that is raised so that we can address those thoroughly as we go through this decision-making process. The frequently asked questions that we will put together will be shared on the website, but will also be continued to share at future public meetings. So as we look at the purpose of this proposal, we have to balance our district budget. In order to have a healthy district balance, we should carry forward about 10% of our maintenance and operation budget. For our district, that means about $5 million. We need to balance this every year, and we have to be able to do this so that the district can sustain the programming that we've come to expect for our students. We also need to be able to do this in a way that honors the legacy of our schools, but also make sure that the programming we're providing supports the students in an urban educational setting. We have to be able to do revenue generating that allows us to be sustainable and not at the whim of different funding sources, either from the federal government or from the state. So as we look at this, the significant data we want to share is that we have a projected enrollment trend by 2033 that will take us down to about 4,000 students. This is about 1,000 students less than we have currently. And as we look at that decline in enrollment, there are some very school-specific trends that we have to consider. The demographic report is actually not a report of how many students attend the school, but how many students are born in the district, are living in the district, and who live in the boundaries that those schools serve. So as we look at this, you can see that Dunbar has a 43% decline in student enrollment based on the numbers of students who live in the community. Hurd is looking at a 36% decline, and Capital is looking at a 41% decline. As we talk about these school closures and consolidation opportunities, what we're looking at is making sure that all of our schools are close to capacity and that we are able to serve all of our students with robust programming. This slide, I think, tells a very telling story. You can see in 2015, 2016, we had just over 7,000 students. We are currently in 24, 25 serving about 5,000 students. Yet we are still staffed close to that 2015, 2016. Since our maintenance and operation budget is dependent on the numbers of students enrolled, this creates a huge discrepancy in our budget. We know that the needs of families in the urban core have to be able to support their students. Many of our families need access to high quality preschool and to before and after school programming. We know that small classrooms with lots of intervention opportunities helps, and we have to make sure that we're giving our teachers competitive salaries so that we're hiring the best and the brightest to serve our students. We cannot currently do that when we have this kind of a discrepancy. This is what our budget looks like currently, and I'm going to bring us back to the thought of the $5 million carry forward balance. You can see in this spreadsheet, this array, you can see that in 23-24, we carry forward a balance of $2,615,000. As we look at that for this current year, 24-25, we have not changed our spending habits yet. And what we carry forward for next year is only $82,000. That's not close to the $5 million we need to have a healthy, sustainable budget. And so as a result of that, if we do nothing to change our spending, we will be looking at approximately $8,500,000 in a deficit. Remember, our funding comes from the students that are enrolled. So knowing the news that everyone has been looking at and watching what's happening across the valley, a big question is, are we in debt right now? The answer is no. We have money currently to cover our debts and to operate. However, the declining enrollment in our district and the continued levels of staffing do put us in jeopardy. So since we've learned of this issue with our budget, we are currently reducing spending in a variety of different ways. We've cut out-of-state travel. We've cut spending on our purchase orders. At the district office, we've cut positions and consolidated closed positions. We have a hiring freeze for non-essential personnel, and we are finished a transportation analysis to figure out how to reduce our transportation costs. So the plan that we are proposing, we call it Plan A, would close Dunbar and Hurd elementary schools. This saves approximately $2.1 million. But I want to be clear, that cut alone does not help us build up the forward balance that we need to have to be able to be healthy. We have to also make budget cuts of about $3 million, and in the future, to be able to take advantage of new lease opportunities. Adding Dunbar and Hurd to the lease opportunities that we have with the Prep Academy at Fillmore, and Ott, and our plant services area, that allows us to potentially bring in an additional $2.2 million in revenue. What's important about the lease opportunities is that becomes a sustainable source of income for the district for years to come. Cuts, we save money one time. Having revenue generating opportunities allows us to save money and bring in more money to support programming. So why these schools? And this is actually a really heartbreaking part of the work that we're doing, because both of these schools have a very special place in our hearts. They've done amazing things for their students. Their families are committed and are dedicated to working with us. But Dunbar has had low and declining enrollment for some time. They currently have about 120 students. And even if we still had a K through 8 program there with the 36% declining enrollment, that is not tenable. Currently, the school has one teacher per grade level, which doesn't allow for teachers to collaborate and to plan together. It creates limited opportunities for that collaboration. And we know that that is a prime real estate site where we can do something that would honor the building and the legacy of Paul Laurence Dunbar by designing something similar to, think of the Children's Museum, think of the Carver Museum, something that we can put together for the community with the community that would serve them and serve our families in a way that is intentional and make sure that we do not lose sight of what that school stands for in our city's history. Hurd has declining enrollment as well. There's also limited community development in comparison to other schools around the district. The building was built in 1975, and so the cost to upgrade those facilities becomes very expensive when you look at trying to recondition that school. Additionally, it has had persistent academic performance that puts it in a comprehensive school improvement status. It's also literally feet away from another school that creates a walking school in that neighborhood. So closing that still provides opportunity for a top-rated school to be a walking school for people in that neighborhood. And we also know that there's potential for revenue generating opportunities based on its proximity to the I-17 and Thomas. The benefit to students in closing the schools may seem like a bit of an oxymoron, but we have to consider the benefits to all 5,000 of the students that we serve. By bringing these two schools to other schools, we increase the number of students in all the schools that we're serving, and it allows us to have 3 to 5 teachers per grade level. In addition, it allows for our teachers to have a team of people that they work with and collaborate with, and to really specialize in meeting the different needs of individual students. With fewer campuses, we have more resources that we can apply to providing programming for our students. That includes social services, the quality of the program, of the facilities, as well as the kinds of programming that we can offer. It also helps us ensure that in the middle school, students have a range of different courses that they can take so that they're better prepared for high school, and it helps us to create more efficient transportation routes. It provides the flexibility and programming so that we can keep with partnerships some of the preschool options, the before and after school programs, and the sports
yeah.
programs.
They're just doing their homework in here.
Oh, we just have another board member who's been able to join. So, and going back to the benefits for students, when we did our Reimagine process, this was a big part of what we wanted to see. Our community told us that the idea of having teachers work together to collaborate, to bring together an opportunity to retain more teachers because they don't feel like they're working in isolation was an important factor that we wanted to consider. So Plan B is if we maintain the status quo and we don't close schools. Plan B, we have to make budget cuts of $12 million over the next 2 years. And I just want to pause on that number, $12 million. That would mean a cut to general education preschool programming. And in fact, as we look closer at the numbers, it may mean a cut to all preschool, and that students who are served through our child find services would only get service minutes. They would not get a full preschool. It would cut before and after school programs and sports. It would eliminate our newcomer program for students who are new to the country and are learning how to prosper in American school systems. It would cut student support positions, reduce district and school-based operations staff, and it would staff our classrooms at the highest student-to-teacher ratio, including our specials. All of these cuts would be devastating to the kinds of programming that our families have come to expect and that our families depend on so that their children can be in school, can be safe, and can be getting a high-quality program. We would still be able to take advantage of new lease opportunities from these 3 opportunities, 7th Street and Fillmore, the Ann Ott Center, and Plant Services, but we would lose the lease opportunities of Dunbar and Hurd. All of this contributes to a lower retention rate of teachers, a lower opportunity for our students, and decreased achievement. Our governing board has adopted a strategic plan and an equity plan that speaks to making sure that every student is achieving at the highest levels possible and that every student gets what they need to achieve. If we are not able to close schools, we are not able to fulfill that promise to our students and to our families. And just so that we're aware, we have had to make these transitions by consolidating programs in other cases. A few years ago, we transferred some of our middle school students from Dunbar because we didn't have enough students to provide middle school staffing. We transferred the students to Magnet. Last year, we did the same program with Emerson to Whittier. So we want to show a video that one of our school social workers, Miss Julie Robbins, put together about students who have transitioned from Emerson to Whittier.
Gabriel,
Camilla,
Aiden,
Teresa,
Isaiah,
Amira,
Jordan,
Angelicia, William, Merlin,
Juan.
Samantha, Brandon, Janae. I felt sad because I was really comfortable at Emerson.
I already had like my whole year of next year planned out and what I was gonna do.
It felt kind of scary.
Kind of sad, because that was like my childhood school.
I felt off because it was weird moving to a new school.
I was excited because I get to meet new people and explore a whole new school.
I don't really know how I felt just going with it, but the change was massive.
I felt excited because I was in that school for a long time and I wanted to feel like, what is it to be like in a new school?
I got upset because I've been there like since I was a little kid, and so moving was really hard. I felt a little anxious and scared and nervous.
Bad.
Different.
It was scary, and because I had to talk to people and like kind of make new friends.
It was just like mixed feelings, I guess.
Kind of hesitant because I didn't know if my friends from Emerson would come to Whittier, but some did, some didn't.
I was scared, but I'm also excited because I was able to meet new friends.
I still felt anxious and nervous, but then after a few weeks, I kind of adjusted and it felt better. I didn't really like it at first, but then eventually it got better, and now I have a lot of friends here. I actually like it because I have, like I said, a lot of friends here, and my teachers are really nice, and I got to meet a lot of new people. So.
Feels good. I felt like I've been here for like a long time now.
It's good because I kind of like the school. I made new friends, and it's more easier to, kind of move around it. It feels kind of like normal now that I got to know everyone.
The coach is really good here, and we got a lot of activities here.
It feels better. I have a lot more friends now, and it feels like I'm at my old school again.
I feel like I can be myself here.
Being in a new environment helps you understand change and why it's necessary.
It's probably scary at first, but like you'll get used to it the more you meet new people, so you'll probably forget moving schools because you'll get to meet new people, new teachers, new staff, etc., etc.
I'm not so stressed about it too much. Be nice to everyone and get to know people.
Stay calm, keep an open mind on meeting new friends, meeting new people, having a new environment.
At the end, it's gonna be worth it.
I would say just keep your cool, and everything's gonna be okay because I know it's hard now, but eventually it'll get better.
Don't worry, and you can make more friends along the way.
Take a deep breath and trust whatever happens, it's gonna be okay because it's really not that serious. It's just schools, and I get that you're gonna have to make new friends, but that's kind of fun, to make new friends and find new people. Making friends might not be easy, but it'll be a good year.
I was actually pretty happy because I saw familiar faces that wasn't just my classmates. I saw staff members that I knew and that I could talk to.
Comfortable. I feel kind of comforting knowing that they're with us here too.
I like it because some of those teachers are very nice.
Oh, that made me more comfortable because I knew that I was going to be with people that were from Emerson moving here, so it felt better. It felt good to know I had other teachers that I knew here. It felt way better, and I felt more comfortable since I already know the teachers and I could just go to them and talk to them. I felt very comfortable because that way I was able to see the person I knew before.
I feel like it would be really good for the kids because they know they have other teachers they can rely on or go to, so they don't just have to come in brand new and not know other teachers.
Go to the same school they're going, so you can go with the kids and the kids will feel happy. I would tell them to probably stay with the kids they were with because as a kid knowing your teacher already, it's more comforting.
So we share that video because we know that it is difficult. Change is going to be hard on any of us, and I don't think any of us in this room feel like change is going to be easy or that this is a quick over and done solution. We have to make a commitment to, first of all, if we make this transition, to supporting our students, our staff, and our families through that. We are committed to working with them. That's why we've held the additional 3 public meetings, because we want to build these not only as receiving public comment, but opportunity to create strong plans for whatever happens next. Our next public meetings are posted here. We also have the Reimagine Phoenix One website. That's a place where you will be able to see the ongoing questions that come up from the frequently asked questions, the plans as they're being developed, and any other pieces of information that you need to have as we work through this process. And with that, that concludes my presentation, and we'll open it up to public comment.
Our first public comment is from Anna Lauder.
Good afternoon. My name is Anna Lauder. I'm a parent in Phoenix Elementary District. I want to first thank the board and the superintendent for your service. I know these are really difficult times and I understand the pressure you all face. I do appreciate what you're doing. We're a public school, strong family first and foremost, and I feel blessed when I look at other places in the state that we actually have a board and a superintendent who I do believe want what's best for kids. So when I bring my critical public comment, it is with the knowledge that we are proud to be a Phoenix Elementary School family. That being said, I have a lot of questions for the board and the superintendent. We talked about the middle school students. Did we retain all those students that we moved, or did we lose more students in the process of moving them? And what are the budget implications of losing more students because they will not move? They will, if they're going to move, they're going to leave the district. And have you considered the civil rights implications of these closures? There are organizations like the Advancement Project that are working hard to produce data-driven research on how these negatively impact communities. Are we leasing these proposed buildings once we close them to other charter and private schools? And won't that further exacerbate our budget problems? At the Reimagining Schools meetings in the fall, it sounded like we were dreaming of big programs that sounded very expensive. And I just wonder, what are the costs associated with this extra stuff that we were told we may get when we reimagined Phoenix Elementary? And how much did even those reimagining sessions with that architecture firm cost the district? I would also encourage the board, staff, and everyone here to take these issues directly to the Capitol. It is our state legislator that is suffocating our students by lack of funding. That is not really something that a school board or a district can address. And it is up to us to go back to our legislators and demand more funding for public education in the state. Thank you.
Our next comment is from Emily White.
Good evening, members of the school board. I stand before you today as a mother of 2 Shaw students and 1 future Shaw student and a teacher there as well. I stand before you with deep concern for the future of our district, our students, and the responsible stewardship of taxpayer resources. While we all strive to provide the best education possible, it's crucial that we do so in a manner that is sustainable and in the best interest of our entire community. As we evaluate the situation, it's clear that continuing the lease with ASU Prep would not only be financially burdensome, but irresponsible to the students of our district. By not renewing the ASU Prep lease and closing the 2 schools proposed, we have the opportunity to refocus those funds on improving the schools that remain in our district, ensuring that all students, regardless of where they attend, receive the best possible education. This decision provides us with the opportunity to reimagine how we utilize our district's resources. Instead of continuing to prop up schools that are no longer viable, we could invest in programs, infrastructure, and initiatives that would benefit all students across the district. Ultimately, our goal must be to serve the greatest number of students in the most effective and sustainable way possible. By doing these things, we can strengthen our district, invest in our future, and focus on providing every student with the high-quality education they deserve. Thank you.
Our next comment is from Adrian Spees.
Hello again, I'm Adrienne Spees. I live in the district just down the street and also have two daughters. One is currently in Shaw and one is a graduate of Shaw. I know this is a very hard position for the district to be in and for all the families who are affected, and I feel for them a lot. But as leaders of our school board, as members of the school board, you are called on to make difficult decisions occasionally. And unfortunately, this seems to be a banner year for difficult decisions for you all. So, closing schools is always difficult and frankly sad. I wish we weren't in that position, but that doesn't mean that closing some schools is not the right decision. In my opinion, we have too many schools for the number of students that we have. We are just really spread too thin. And I'm not speaking, from legally position, but in my opinion, we just cannot have a deficit. That's just not, acceptable to me as a taxpayer and a voter. And we just can't do that. And so the most effective way to get to a place of financial or to retain our financial viability is Plan A. I think Plan A is really the right choice, even though it is difficult. It gives the district the ability to continue providing educational opportunities and the supports that all the students need. Plan B will, I think, drive families out of the district because you're going to be providing less and less services. And we already know there's competition. We have some students that live in district and go to their neighborhood schools, but you also draw students from outside the district. And if we are cutting services, people are going to see the writing on the wall. They're going to choose to go somewhere else. And then eventually enrollment's going to continue to go down and you're not going to be able to cut anymore. You're going to get down to bare bones. And then you're going to be looking at closing district schools anyway. And we might be in receivership along the way, which nobody wants. So unfortunately, I do think Plan A is the way to go, and I appreciate your consideration of this difficult decision.
Our next comment is from Aiden Lovelady.
Good evening, esteemed members of the governing board. My name is Adam Lovelady. I'm the master teacher in the SUN program supporting unique needs. I have worked in our district for the past 15 years, so I've seen a lot of things from my first year getting a pink slip at the end instead of a contract saying, we don't know if we can pay you next year. I've been through all of that. I've been through Red for Ed. I've been through COVID, and we're still here, right? I'm here today to advocate for transparency and open communication as we plan for our future. It is essential that we develop a multi-year plan that allows us to continue our efforts and build upon our best practices for student success. With that clear vision, we can empower our remarkable leaders to implement their crucial initiatives. This includes Alicia Zelvis, the Director of ESS, for her continued support of all students with unique needs, Nicholas Lodato, the Principal at Emerson, and his commitment to mastery and growth for all learners, and Daniel Stanton at G-Road in providing meaningful relationships and opportunities during after-school care. A multi-year plan with the best interests of our community is necessary and expected in the midst of these proposed changes. So my questions are, what were the results of Reimagine? Again, I heard we were asked to dream big, yet I feel like we're falling in line with the trends of Arizona and public education. I feel like there might be a plan, but I want to know what that plan is as it's being developed. And I think that that's how a lot of people in this room are feeling. There were changes from Emerson to Whittier, and I understand that we need to make quick changes in a moment, but I think that we need to take a pause and say, how do we make this as a long-term so that we know where we're moving together? We can do better with this collaboration, and especially with PECTA, and let's create something that we have to look forward to. Thank you.
Our next comment is from Alicia Zelvis.
Good evening, Governing Board members. I'm the Director of Exceptional Student Services for Phoenix Elementary. And first, I want to thank you for your decision not to renew the lease with ASU Prep. I've witnessed how their limited ability to serve all students has directly impacted the resources available to our exceptional learners. Second, while overall district enrollment has declined, our exceptional student population growth has remained steady. The declining enrollment still impacts our student funding for special education. Providing services in tall, skinny schools, we call them, limits collaboration among special education providers and instructional staff. Those school closures are never easy. We have an opportunity to make a thoughtful and positive changes now, ensuring we're not financially burdened by inefficient facilities or staff stretched too thin across too many campuses. I urge you to support these strategic closures and sustainable changes, and I assure you that our exceptional students and our specialized programs will remain a top priority throughout this process. Thank you.
Our next comment is from Joseph Fuentes.
Good evening, President Bueno, Governing Board members, Superintendent Dr. Gonzalez, and Cabinet. My name is Joseph Fuentes, and as most of you know, I'm the very proud principal at Edison Elementary School. I'm also a former student, promoted from Lowell School in 2001. My grandmother worked in the cafeteria at Lowell for 40 years before retiring. Both my grandparents are still in the district, proud voters and proud advocates of public education. Sent all of us to Lowell and Phoenix Prep. I'm here tonight to speak in support of the school closure proposals, although a hard decision to make for everyone involved. I understand that this is not an easy decision for district leadership or the board, nor is it a decision that was made lightly. Change, especially one that impacts entire school communities, come with challenges, but it also brings opportunities. I experienced firsthand in 2015 the consolidation of Garfield and Shaw Elementary School. It was a major transition, but it ultimately proved to be a positive and transformative experience for me as an educator. Instead of teaching in isolation as the only fourth grade teacher in my second year of teaching, I became part of a team of 3. That shift taught me the power of collaboration in a way that I had never experienced before. I was especially fortunate to work with my teammate, Katie Miner, whose years of experience elevated my own practice. That changed me to be a better teacher for my students. Beyond the professional growth, I also had the privilege of welcoming new families into the classroom and being part of a community that became even more diverse, connected, and vibrant. It was an opportunity to build something new together. While I know this transition, like these are never without difficulty, I believe they can also be filled with positive new experiences for students, families, and staff. Change is hard, but it can also bring new opportunities for growth, collaboration, and community building. I also want to express my appreciation for the district's thoughtful approach to reimagining the Fillmore location. Whether it becomes a space that directly serves students or an income source that benefits our district, I am proud to see PESD making the intentional decisions to prioritize our students in our district and their future. I want to thank you for your time and for your leadership as you have to make hard decisions and to listening to the community and what they have to say.
Our next comment is from Maria Rodriguez.
Hello, Governing Board, President Bueno, Dr. Gonzalez, Superintendent, community members. My name is Maria Rodriguez. I would like to express my gratitude for the measures and steps being taken to ensure that our district is not only negatively impacted financially, but as a mother of 3 children who have attended public school here at Phoenix #1, I am particularly appreciative of the efforts being made to ensure that our students can continue their education here. And as a staff member and ESPA president, I understand the importance of these school closures, and I'm thankful for our leadership and that they're taking these proactive steps to save Phoenix Elementary and prevent the financial troubles that other districts, have faced in current events. I recognize that this is a difficult decision, but it is crucial to prioritize the long-term success of our district. It is better to build a ship and navigate through the disaster than risking drowning and trying to salvage what remains. Thank you for your dedication and hard work and ensuring the stability and the success of our district.
Our next comment is from Nadine Gofonia.
Good evening, Governing Board, Cabinet, and members in the community. I want to begin by expressing my deep dedication and commitment to Phoenix Elementary School District. And I know this is a difficult decision for everybody. And Governing Board, I appreciate you taking thoughtful time. As a member of the district, I've been here since 2006, and currently, I'm the principal of Paul Lawrence Dunbar. So I've witnessed many changes, challenges, and celebrations over the years. Through my work with staff, students, and families, I've seen how important it is to make decisions that are rooted in the well-being of our children. So I understand how difficult this decision is, closing schools and consolidating resources while trying to balance the well-being of our students, but also our staffs. In the years that I've been a member of the district, teacher recruitment and retention and just staff member recruitment and retention has really been near and dear to my heart. So the last 2 years, we've really built a wonderful learning community at Dunbar. So it is very difficult, but it's also very necessary. I understand the rationale behind the proposal to close the schools, and I support the idea of this consolidation because of my commitment to the district. I believe this means we can focus our resources more effectively to make sure that all the children are receiving the kind of quality education this district really stands for. Again, I know this decision isn't easy, but we really have to look at sustainability, and I don't really plan on going away anytime soon, so I want to see that success happen. Something I wanted to share was when I was first principal at Augustus H. Shaw in 2006, the enrollment was 525 students. We were able to have multiple teachers at a grade level. During our collaborative team meetings, we were able to place students based on social and emotional needs, based on student achievement needs, and teachers were able to plan with a team. In contrast, my current experience at Dunbar gives me the unique insight into the operational challenges that we're facing with the declining enrollment. Alicia Zelvis talked about the tall, skinny school, and I'm experiencing that firsthand where resources are really stretched. And it's so important that both financially and emotionally, we're giving students and staff the best opportunity to really feel like they're being the best they can be. So again, I want to support the idea of consolidation and thank our cabinet for all the hard work. I really always say that I can't assume what other people are facing in their positions unless I've walked those shoes. I've not ever been a superintendent
That's
3
minutes, Principal Cafagna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes our in-person public hearing comments. Moving on to our electronic public hearing comments. Our first one is from Leslie Pena. Closing schools is never an easy choice. As a parent of a student in our district, I believe it is important to be aware of the disasters that other districts are facing. I believe the leadership team is trying to avoid a financial crisis by making difficult choices to ensure PESD1 can continue to serve our students. There is peace of mind knowing that our students are accommodated at our other campuses, and I am hopeful that PESD1 will work alongside the staff directly impacted by the potential closure. Thank you, Leslie Pena. Our next comment is from Julie Robbins. My name is Julie Robbins. I have proudly served PESD1 as a school social worker for the last 12 years. I would like to encourage the board to stand together and make the challenging decisions with unity so that we can move forward for our community. I implore the board to vote yes on the difficult but necessary school closures so that we can survive this critical fiscal situation without universal pay, staff, and programming cuts. I encourage the board to support the reimagine process and allow the leadership that you have chosen to have an opportunity to work toward the goals that you set. I do not know all details behind how or why certain schools have been chosen for closure next year. I do know that I have trust in the leaders who are making these recommendations. I believe they have been made with enormous consideration. First and foremost, being student well-being, and that our leaders are creating a plan that addresses both our vital budget issues and how our district can grow and innovate well into the future. I hope that our board has the same intention and trust in our leadership. I ask that all board members continue to fulfill their obligation by showing up to create unity, trust, and a path for this district to grow and innovate. Please stand together, vote yes, and do not create additional obstacles during difficult times. With respect, Julie Robbins. Our next one is from Cynthia Castillo. To whom it may concern. My name is Cindy Martinez, a parent of students at Hurd Elementary School. To say I'm furious or disappointed in the potential closure of Hurd Elementary is an understatement. The news came as a shock, and while I read the notifications in every communication since, the reasoning for the potential closure just simply doesn't make sense. Why a potential closure? Why Hurd? The communications have stated by 2033, enrollment is projected to decline by 14%. So that's why 8 years before 2033 and 4 months before the end of the school year, we get notified of the potential closure. Leaving parents scrambling last minute to figure out what's next for our kids in education, leaving teachers and school staff members filled with fear over the potential of losing their jobs. The communications have stated significant budgetary challenges, with projections indicating a need for adjustments to avoid drastic cuts in the future. If they truly are significant challenges, did these challenges just get noticed? Is this an Isaac School District scenario where funds were misused in our community, our children, our teachers are paying for it? Significant budgetary challenges do not happen overnight. Why weren't more appropriate measures taken sooner to avoid this potential closure? The community needs Hurd Elementary to remain open. This is a safe place for students. Many students don't reside within the school the school address limits, but choose Hurd for a reason, including my kids. To assume the automatic enrollment to Capital Elementary with transportation available would ease our worries is unacceptable. Please, as a parent, I beg that you rethink this potential closure and avoid a closure altogether. The impact this will have on our community, students, and teachers is catastrophic. Please let me know if you have any questions. Cindy Martinez. Our next comment is from Nicole Goodwin. Good evening, governing board members, Superintendent Gonzalez, and Cabinet. My name is Nicole Goodwin, and I am a proud teacher at Whittier Elementary School. I make my comment as a teacher concerned about how the budgetary impacts of keeping 2 schools open will affect our students, and not as a PECTA treasurer. I know we have many members for and against this idea, and do not want my comment being taken as PECTA taking a side on the issue. As a concerned citizen, I have watched as the state has drained millions of dollars away from public schools with vouchers. And as a PECTA board member, I have been attending meetings since 2018 and have seen the writing on the walls for years. We have had declining enrollment, declining budgets, and declining buildings. I know you are preparing to make another difficult financial decision regarding closing 2 schools in the district. I ask the district be transparent about their finances and work to support and retain teachers and staff affected if schools are closed. As you make your decision, please consider how you can positively impact the most students in the district. Thank you for your time. Our next comment is from Cynthia C. Harvey. I am writing about the proposed closure of Hurd Elementary at the end of this school year. I am a newer member of the Herd community, having started reading tutoring through the AARP Experience Corps at the beginning of the school year. I believe Herd Elementary is an essential part of its neighborhood and the greater Phoenix community. There is a unique culture at Herd of enthusiasm for learning, of kindness, and of caring for one another. It would be sad to see that culture damaged by closure. All the services like AARP Experience Corps and Big Brothers Big Sisters could be shut out space for their programs and all consolidation at Capitol. The loss of those programs cannot benefit the children and families of Herd. My husband and I are both proud products of public schools, public and state university, and we are both the first generation in our families to graduate from college. This has enabled us to thrive, be good citizens, and now to give back to our community with time and resources. Isn't this what we want for all our kids? To be educated, to prosper, and to return those gifts to their communities as they go out into the world. I may be new to the Herd community, but I strongly believe it is in Herd's present and future students and families' best interests to keep the school open and flourishing. Sincerely, community member Cynthia Harvey. Our next comment is from Jennifer Cervantes. Good evening. I'm a parent whose son goes to Herd Elementary School. The purpose of this letter is to gather information on how to get our voice heard regarding the closure of Herd Elementary School or how we can help to stop the closure for Herd Elementary School. I don't agree with this decision that was made. This was completely unacceptable and unfair for the students and teachers. This will affect so many kids from adjusting to different schools and changing their environment. Ms. Magana has done an outstanding job helping students with behavioral issues to become successful. Closing Herd Elementary School was a mistake because I know the teacher care about their students and go beyond to help their students. Herd School Elementary staff treats everyone with respect. Most importantly, we all are a team. Please rethink the decision on how this will affect everyone. Our next comment is from Guy Finney. I understand that declining enrollment necessitates school closures. My concern is for the kids from the closed schools. The most important consideration in choosing which schools to close should be the impact it will have on those kids. When boundaries are redrawn, kids should not be sent to schools with the worst record than the school they came from. To me, the poorest performing schools are the ones that should be closed. Distance from their home would be the number 2 consideration on my list. Parents who drove their kids shouldn't have to travel an extended distance. People who have the meager means shouldn't have to choose between their jobs and their kids' safety. Lastly, I'm going to put in a shameless plug for my old grade school, Herd. It was a very long time ago, but from what I can tell, it continues to turn out decent kids. Thank you for your consideration. Our next comment is from A. Mon. Hello, my name is A. Mon, parent of a student attending Herd Elementary School. I wanted to voice out my stance on the possible closure of Herd by going against it, as it will only complicate the education of the children. If there is any way to prevent this closure, that would be really great. Thank you so much. Our next comment is from Anicia Puig. It says, please read, and it's a letter. To whom it may concern, I am writing to express my strong opposition to the proposed closure of Herd Elementary School. My children started attending the school in August 2018, with my 2 daughters in the 2nd and 5th grade. Despite living outside the district, I enrolled them because I immediately recognized that Herd was the right fit for their education. The staff from the front office to the principal have consistently gone above and beyond to meet our needs. The transition for my older daughter was made significantly easier thanks to Ms. Magana, who took the initiative to connect with her, leaving a lasting impression. My daughter excelled at Herd, participating in volleyball, learning to play the violin, and engaging in the Hispanic Mother-Daughter program, all supported by encouraging teachers and Ms. Angelo. The pandemic brought its own set of challenges, yet the staff at Herd ensured that every child received the highest quality of learning experience, refusing to let circumstances diminish their education. Upon returning, the staff's effective communication and teamwork facilitated a smooth and safe transition for everyone. My oldest daughter is now thriving at Phoenix College Prep and will graduate next year, while my middle daughter is set to be promoted from the 8th grade this year. She has grown tremendously, serving as a student body president last year and advancing academically this year with the help of Dr. Johnson's tutoring. My son is currently a 1st grader at Herd and is deeply troubled by the prospect of not continuing his education there. He too has formed strong bonds with the staff and is flourishing in that environment. Public schools are essential to our society, providing accessible education to a diverse population. They not only foster social skills and build a sense of community, but also develop critical thinking abilities, preparing citizens to engage actively in society. Public schools are the foundation of a well-informed and engaged community. While financial concerns are valid, closing these schools is not an acceptable solution. The state of Arizona must step up and support public schools during this critical time, just as has financially supported private schools through state voucher programs. It is imperative that we invest in our public education system to ensure a brighter future for all students. It is absolutely clear that closing Hurd Elementary School would be a catastrophic loss for our community and the children who depend on it. Families choose Hurd for its exceptional staff, its location, and the profound positive impact it has within our community. We must prioritize preserving this vital institution. Sincerely, Anicia Puig. We have 3 more in-person comments. Our first one is from Angelica Luna.
Sorry. As a mother of student at her, I am very angry at this decision you have brought to us. This is not okay. Transferring our students to the worst school possible, where all the crime rate is really, really bad. There is 69 sex offenders within the half-mile radius of that school. There is 420 in 1 mile radius of that school, and I'm not okay with this. The safety of our students should be the #1 priority. And then their education, because how can they have an education if they don't have their safety first? So this is really concerning to me, because there's not a lot of students who have a vehicle. They have to take the public transportation, and that's what we need to focus more on. Thank you.
Our next comment is from Felicitas Padron.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Felicitas Padrón y quiero decirles gracias porque están todavía pensándolo. No es que ya se está cerrando la escuela, ¿verdad? Y otra de las cosas es que ustedes aquí, todo lo que yo estoy escuchando, lo que ustedes pusieron, es simplemente están hablando de dinero. No están hablando de más allá y aparte de los servicios que nuestros hijos ocupan. Yo les estoy hablando como miembro de la comunidad, como madre les estoy hablando y como facilitadora en la escuela Hurd, ¿ok? Yo no estoy de acuerdo que cierren la escuela. Yo veo ahí mucho espacio para mejoría ahí en esa escuela y también veo ahí también la oportunidad de que sí nos enseñaron un video, ¿verdad? De los niños, de cómo se sentían antes y después, pero les apuesto muchísimo que si ustedes les preguntaban a esos niños que si querían que los movieran de escuela, ellos hubieran dicho que no. Mi hija es una de esas niñas que movieron de Emerson a Whittier. Ella está allí, ella termina este año. Afortunadamente está más o menos, voy a decir, porque hay algunas cosas que también ahí no me gustan, ¿verdad? Pero también otra cosa que les quiero decir, este dinero de lo que están hablando ustedes es dinero que yo estoy pagando taxes también y que yo pienso que nosotros como comunidad necesitamos y tenemos el derecho de hacer decisiones, no solamente ustedes solos, no solamente decir, esa es la opción A y la opción B, siempre hay otra opción y debemos de trabajar con la comunidad y ver qué es lo que ellos quieren, no solamente lo que es mejor porque dinero, lo que es mejor por esto, sino que también qué es lo que ellos quieren. Si ustedes no han tomado el tiempo de ir a la escuela, de conocer a las familias de esa escuela, ¿verdad? Y también de preguntar y decirles, ¿qué opinan ustedes? ¿Qué piensan? ¿Quieren ustedes que la escuela se cierre o no? Hagan y tomen ese tiempo porque es muy importante. Sí, estoy de acuerdo que a lo mejor el dinero importa, sí, pero hay otra forma, otra manera de buscar esos fondos también. Estatalmente nosotros, ¿qué podemos hacer? Es buscar más fondos para que ninguna escuela se cierre. A mí, afortunadamente, mi hijo sale el año que viene, ya cuando ya van a cerrar la escuela de ASU, porque él va ahí, el de en medio. La niña mía ya va a salir de este distrito, por decirlo así, para el año que viene, pero yo estoy hablando por los padres que tienen a sus hijos ahí y quiero que ustedes piensen y tengan empatía en que vean ustedes de que, ¿qué van a hacer estas familias? ¿Tienen transportación para recoger a su niño o su niña después o antes de escuela? ¿Pueden ellos llegar a, ¿cómo se dice?, agarrar a sus hijos cuando tengan una cita? O sea, me están diciendo va a tener transportación el niño, ¿verdad? Pero ¿y los papás? Se pensaron a ponerse, se pararon a pensar a poner, a pensar en ellos. Entonces yo les estoy hablando, como les digo, como miembro de la comunidad que pago mis taxes, ¿no? Como miembro de que soy una facilitadora allí y como madre. Yo creo que cuando van a tomar una decisión de cerrar alguna escuela, hay muchos rasgos que ver, no solamente enfocarnos que estos solamente son los planes y que solamente hay tanto dinero. Hay formas o maneras de ver de
Sorry, that's
dónde
been
más
3
podemos
minutes.
agarrar.
Gracias.
Although I'm going to give a very narrated interpretation, it's not going to be the whole thing, but we'll get the gist of it. In the very beginning, she's saying very upset about this transition. I do not agree. And yes, there was a video, but if you had asked more children and other children would have said, no, my child is there and she is still so regarding the transition. This is about money. I'm paying too. And as a community, there's another option. There is not just a money issue, but if you take the time to ask the families what they
Voy
think.
a tratar de decirlo en inglés lo más que. Okay.
Wait,
okay.
sí, me va a ayudar. Sí.
Dale.
There is a different way. My child is about to graduate and my middle child is still in transition. And did they think about them and the parents and not just focus on the plans that are financial? There's a request. ¿Cuál es su petición?
A que lo voy a tratar de decir en inglés yo.
Permission to add, to say more in English or not?
I'm sorry, we've breached our 3 minutes.
Que, pues entonces busque mejor intérprete porque
Yeah,
no es.
find a better interpreter because
Is she saying the interpretation is bad and now she wants to say it in English?
she wants me to repeat everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you can.
Sure, I can do simultaneous.
Okay.
Of course, that's why I said it was a summary, of course. Of course. So, simultaneous? Okay, sí, no puede ser simultáneo.
Okay.
Okay.
Yo lo voy a decir.
Oh, lo va a decir en inglés. Oh, she wants to say in English though.
Sí.
Okay, está bien.
Sí. So what I said is that I understand that what you're talking about mostly is money funds and all that you need for the schools, right? But then at the same time, I know that you may be in a hard position right now, but I feel that you need to be able to also ask the parents, ask the community of what they want. Not just take it upon yourself and say, this is plan A and plan B and that's it. But also asking them, because I'm talking to you as a parent, as a facilitator that I heard, I'm talking to you as a mother of a child, which my daughter was in Emerson and she was moved to Whittier last year. They didn't even tell us anything. It was just like something that you got a letter and they're moving and that's it, right? And so if you were to ask the children that were there on the video, I'm pretty sure they were gonna tell you not to close their school. You may see that they got, they're a little bit better, but I can tell you that if you were to ask my daughter or other students there, they would have said no to closing their school. I feel that there's another way of finding budget or finding funds to be able to not close any of the schools down. My middle child goes to ASU, and this is his last year coming up next year. So he's gonna be able to finish and graduate from there. And my daughter will be able to finish and graduate from Whittier in this district. But I want you to take in mind also that you're saying, I'm giving transportation to the students, but what about the parents? Did you stop and think about, what if my student has an appointment? Do I have a way of getting my student from all the way over there when I live all the way over here? What happens if my student, an emergency happens, or if I need to go and get him or her from school? How do I do that if I don't have transportation myself? So there's a lot of things that I feel that have not been set up on the table that need to be said, and things that parents need to, we need to be able to know that you're being transparent with everything and know that you guys are thinking about us too. We pay our taxes. We're trying to figure out a way or a form of not closing the school. But if you are not supporting us and helping us in that way and making the school much better, I believe that one of the things you guys said on there was too that they didn't have attendance. They're fourth in attendance, so they have a good attendance. And I believe that Principal Ms. Magaña is doing a good job, as well as Ms. Levy, which is the parent liaison that's there. And I know that they're bringing things that the students need and the families need. So if you, by closing that, you're making our community worse than it already is. Thank you.
Our final comment is from Danilo Suarez.
Perfecto.
Ok.
Muchas gracias.
Yo voy a hablar. Ok, usted habla en español, yo lo paso en inglés.
Buenas tardes.
Pero usted hábleme a mí.
Ah.
Usted hábleme a mí.
El micro. Buenas tardes.
Good evening.
Buenas tardes, miembro de la
Good
Junta
evening,
Directiva de
members of the
Directora
governing
por
board
escrito,
and
padres,
that of the
representantes.
school district and parents.
Mi nombre es Danilo
My
Suárez.
name is Danilo Suarez.
Yo soy padre de un
I am
alumno,
the father
exalumno
of
de la escuela
a
Hare,
former Heard student,
y he escuchado
and I have
siempre los
always
problemas de
heard of
presupuesto
the budget
desde
problems
que estaba el amigo allá al
since
final de la
my
lista, al
friend at the bottom of the list.
y no se entiende
And
cómo van a
it's hard to
solucionar los
understand
problemas
how
de
you can solve an education issue closing schools.
no se entiende cómo se gastan
It's hard
millones y
to
millones de
understand
dólares
how
en guerra,
millions and
en armamento,
millions of
cuando
dollars are
ustedes
spent
tienen una guerra educativa aquí en este
in
país.
the military when we have
Entonces, si
when we
ustedes,
have a education issue here in the country.
o sea, yo no preparé un discurso,
So
disculpen,
I
pero
didn't
me enteré esta
prepare a
mañana y vine
speech.
para
I'm
acá.
sorry. I just
Voy a poner mi
I
ejemplo. Tenemos 7 años que llegamos a este
let's
hermoso
say
país
it's been 7
y
years
mi
since
hijo
we
está
arrived
en
in
Herd,
this beautiful
un
country, and
programa
my
que
son is in
terminaron
Heard.
de sexto, séptimo, octavo grado.
From they had a 6th
Fue
to
muy
8th
fuerte porque
grade
él no habla inglés.
program.
Hoy
He did
ya
not
habla
speak
perfectamente inglés,
English.
menos yo.
Today he does speak English.
Entonces, es una buena escuela
It's a
y
good
son
school,
semilleros las escuelas públicas.
and
Voy a hablar
public
del sexto
schools
grado. Si
are
ustedes
where
cierran ese semillero,
children
¿qué
grow.
esperan
If we
ustedes
close
cosechar a futuro?
that, what will we harvest later?
Todos tenemos problemas económicos,
Everyone has
organismos
economic
públicos,
issues,
privados y escuelas y todos los
um,
organismos. Pero
all
tienen que encontrar
schools,
otro
but you have to
plan,
find another
un plan
plan,
B
a plan
o F
D or plan F
o X, como
or
dicen,
plan X,
de
as they
buscar ese
say,
recurso. No
to
puede ser que
find
no
those
haya un
resources. It
1%
can't
que
be
se
possible
invirtió en
that
armamento para
we
dotar a
can't
las
find a
escuelas,
1%
dar
that was
personal
invested
docente,
to
educativo, maestros,
warfare
plantel,
that we can invest
mantenimiento
to schools
y los estudiantes.
for students and
Mi hijo
facilities.
salió de
My
Herd
son
junto con otros
graduated
alumnos
from
del
Heard
distrito
with
Phoenix Normal, 3, 4 escuelas,
other students,
aprobaron lo que llaman el Bridge to Brophy,
and they
entró a Brophy,
¿El cuál?
que todo el mundo dijo Brophy,
and they passed the
Brophy Preparatory
prep,
Academy, y él egresó de Brophy junto con otras
and he
personas.
graduated from Brophy
Hoy en día
along with
está en el
others. Today they're at ASU with excellent
Entonces, repito,
grades.
creo que es un
I
mal
repeat,
proyecto de ustedes.
I think it's
Traten
a
de
bad
enderezar un
project
poco
on your
mejor,
part.
buscar
Try to
fondos.
fix it and
Sé que
find
aquí hay organismos, tanto nacionales como
funds. I
internacionales,
know there are
gubernamentales, que tienen
national and
recursos para la
international
educación infantil.
organizations that have money to go towards
Las escuelas
children's
elementary,
education,
y lo conozco porque yo
elementary
tuve la
schools,
oportunidad
and I know because
de
I've
ser
had the chance
voluntario,
to be
de
to
presentar mi
volunteer.
viejo carnet
Actually, here's my
de
ID
Herd,
from
y yo
Heard.
era que ponía a los alumnos
And
que
I was the
entraran
one
derechito por la
who
línea,
made sure
estudios
students
online,
were in line,
y me tocó ser maestro sustituto
and I
y vi un
got to be
poquito
a
de
sub
problemática
teacher,
de
and
los
I
elementary.
got to see the
Y
problems
cerrar
in
escuelas
elementary
como Herd y
schools.
lo que tienen ustedes
And
en la
closing
lista
schools like Heard and the rest on the
son los
list,
semilleros
those
de la
are the
educación
grounds
de high
where
school y futuros
high
estudiantes
school
universitarios o de
and
college.
future college students grow.
Por favor, les pido
Please, I
que
ask you
reconsideren
to
esos planes
reconsider those
y
plans
traten de buscar
and to try to
fondos
find
de que
funds.
estoy consciente
I am
que los
aware
hay.
that they
No
are.
utilicen el lado izquierdo
Please don't
fácil y
use
sencillo
the
de estar
easy way
cortando
out
presupuestos
of
cerrando escuelas.
closing
Estas
closing
instalaciones, por
schools.
las que he conocido,
These
de las 14 escuelas
facilities
que ustedes manejan,
from the
o
14
16, he
schools
conocido
that you
8 y
manage,
están muy bien dotadas.
they are very well
Entonces, yo
constructed.
creo que
La política sería
So
de
I
captar
think
más
that
estudiantes de otra manera. Si
that
ciertas
the
escuelas
idea would be to gather more students
y
from.
no acude a las escuelas.
Okay, we are over time at this point.
Que están entrando ahorita, ya
Proposal.
es saliente. Así que bueno, muchísimas gracias. Y les
Thank you
pido, por
very
favor,
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that has provided public comment. We appreciate voicing your concerns, and this is not a decision that we take lightly. As a reminder, no vote will be taking place today. This is just the beginning of our month-long public hearings. So please continue to show up at the next ones that we have scheduled. We completely empathize with the situation and just know that this is not an easy situation for us to be in. So thank you all for being here today. And I will move us forward to current event summary, superintendent's report.
Good evening. I want to start by celebrating Black History Month. Phoenix #1 is proud to actively work to create spaces where our students, staff, and families are valued and empowered to achieve their dreams of the future. Recognizing Black history is our history. Our schools are ensuring our students learn about the past and the impact of the Black leaders, artists, scientists, and educators, and their donations and their contributions from our past and into our future. I want to welcome our new Educational Support Personnel Association leaders who were elected into office last month: President Maria Rodriguez, Vice President Perry White, Treasurer Leslie Pena, Secretary Gladys Montgomery. We're grateful for the continued leadership of our members at large, past President Joanne Kramer, past Treasurer Sylvia Encinas, and past Treasurer Juanita McDaniel. We're proud of the work our employee groups do to ensure Phoenix #1 is a great place to work and appreciate the advocacy of ESPA and our Phoenix Elementary Classroom Association, led by co-presidents Marnie Burris and Nick Martin, Vice President John Franklin, Treasurer April Pettit, and Secretary Nicole Goodwin. We meet regularly and are working collaboratively to build strong transition plans for staff impacted by the potential closures of the consolidations. I want to thank these leaders for their partnership as we navigate the challenges ahead. We have another leader who unfortunately was not able to be here, Jesus Soto, a student from Capital. He is a student on the Superintendent Student Leadership Advisory Council and was going to offer comments this evening. However, he is sick and not able to be here today. I do want to take a moment to thank everyone for sharing their comments this evening during the public forum and ask that you please continue to share your ideas and your concerns with us. We take every comment to heart and are committed to working with you to find the best possible solutions for our students, staff, and families. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Moving on to board members' reports. Would anybody like to share?
This is Dr. Vink. I'll go.
Go ahead.
I want to thank everyone for coming tonight and for your comments. I also want to be very clear that school closures harm communities and can further decrease enrollment and academic achievement. I am imploring our community, as well as state and federal leaders, to get involved and show up to support our public schools. I do not know what decisions we will have to make for Phoenix L in the coming weeks, but I do know that if our community doesn't mobilize now, public education may not survive. Furthermore, I am incredibly frustrated by the lack of transparency and ability for the board to ask questions before and during this meeting. As a board member, regardless of the decision that needs to be made, it is my job to hold the district accountable, and I have questions. At a minimum, I am requesting detailed numbers, as both Plan A and B lack details and the numbers were different for both. I am also requesting an independent equity audit. I encourage the community to keep showing up to these meetings and demand transparency. Thank you.
I'd like to say something too, if that's okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Ovalle.
I just want to apologize for not being in person. I know that this is a serious conversation and I'm out sick, but I want to apologize for not even being on camera, but I'm here and I want to work with the community. I want to hear what folks got to say. And I hope that these next processes, we move through it together. And I'm really looking forward to, working with y'all on how do we get through this time. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for speaking. And I'm here, I'm listening, and I'm with you guys.
Any other board member reports?
Thank you, President Bueno. I'll go. This is Carmen Trujillo. I'll follow my colleagues. Thank you to everyone who shared public comment at the hearing time today. And for anyone staying to attend our governing board meeting, I look forward to hearing more at our future public hearings. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, for sharing your current event summary. I too am excited for Black History Month, and I'm glad our students get to take this time to have this space boosted to experience different identities, experience, and this very important part of our history. I also know that we are going through an uncertain time with immigration enforcement in Arizona and the concerns with our schools. So I just want to encourage everyone to stay connected in our social media, district websites, and things like that to stay current with any and all information shared from the district. That's all I have. Thank you.
President Bueno, I'd like to say something as well.
Yes, Ms. De La Rosa, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I also apologize for not being in person today. I had a last minute situation that came up and I was at a range as why I was also a little bit tardy to the meeting, but I do appreciate our community members, our teachers, our parents that came forward today and expressed their concerns and on both sides of the token of the hard decision that we have to make as a board. Again, like I was a parent of the school district for many, many years, and I definitely feel the aching pains of having to make this decision. And I realize how hard it's going to be and how hard it is for the parents to understand that we could possibly, have to make this decision for the kids. And we assure you that we are definitely looking at the numbers, but we definitely have to look at everything else that surrounds the school, the emotions, the challenges, the district, the students, in a holistic approach. So I just wanted to say thank you, everybody. And I know this is just one of 4 sessions, and we hope that a lot more parents, a lot of more community members do come out and give us their thoughts through this whole process. So I do appreciate everyone here today.
Thank you to my colleagues for sharing their sentiments. I also share the same sentiments. This is a difficult decision. I don't think any of us came into this role to make difficult decisions, but it is what is required of leadership. This is the product of when a nation and a state does not believe in funding public education. This is 30 years in the making to dismantle the good of public education. So I also want to keep that in mind, that we are feeling the effects of not having good leadership at our state level, at our federal level. These are very hard decisions that fall on the shoulders of your governing board. We respect that you have your opinions and your voices, and we encourage you to continue to activate your voices in any form and manner that you are able to connect with our community. We want this to be a safe space and to be able to hear and dialogue more. So today we're having our board meeting, but when we have our public hearing meetings, we'll be be able to have more of that dialogue and be able to respond to some of the questions. Like Dr. Gonzalez said, we are going to have a frequently asked questions running list. So please submit your questions so that way we make sure that every perspective is being considered and taken into account. Thank you to my colleagues for being able to serve alongside one another. And thank you for allowing us to, the community for allowing us to serve the 5,000 students and over 1,000 employees that we are responsible to. So thank you all for tonight. We will move on with our board meeting agenda, and we're going to move on to community communications. This portion of the community communications is for to address agenda items. To make a public comment, community members may request to speak on agenda items during a meeting by completing a request to speak card and giving it to the board secretary at the meeting. Do we have any public comments for the agenda?
We have no public comments at this time.
Thank you. We're moving on to our consent agenda. I motion the approval of the consent agenda.
This is Carmen Trujillo. I'll second the motion.
Vote count for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
for Ms. Erica De La Rosa,
Aye.
for Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
for Ms. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
and for Ms. Erica Ovalle.
Aye.
With that, the motion passes. Our consent agenda is approved, and we're moving on to action items. First up, we have our request approval of issuing contracts and work agreements, notice of appointment for 2025-2026 school year. Who is presenting on this? Dr. Gonzalez?
I will turn this over to Dr. Bowman. This is part of our regular approval of contract and work agreements that we have to present to the board and have it approved. Dr. Bowman?
Good evening, President Bueno, governing board members, cabinet, and community members and staff. Thank you for being here. On this item, it's our annual time to approve our contracts and our notices of appointment work agreements for our staff so that we can start the process of preparing to publish those contracts. The first group that will receive those will be the teachers, the special support services like our social workers and our speech language pathologists, PTs, and our school psychologists. That'll be March 17th. State law this year moved all of the school districts in Arizona that we can't administer and publish our contracts until March 15th. That's on a Saturday. So we're going to publish our contracts on the first day that we're able to on March 17th. And then we will administer I keep saying that we will publish the rest of the contracts on the week of March 24th. That will include the administrator group, the support staff group, and I think that's all. Then the changes, we work with our legal counsel to go through and review our contracts every year, which we did this year again. Gus Rosenfeld sent that back. There were very minimal changes, nothing of substance. So we would like to recommend that the governing board approve the contracts or the issuance of contracts for the 25-26 school year.
Any questions?
None from me, President Bueno.
Thank you. Hearing none, I motion that we approve issuing contracts and work agreements for the 2025-26 school year.
Thank you. This is Carmen Trujillo. I'll second the motion.
Vote count for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
for Ms. Erica De La Rosa,
Aye.
for Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
for Ms. Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
for Ms. Erica Ovalle,
Ms. Ovaya, you're on mute. Okay, with that, she hopped off the call. Motion passes. We're moving on to request approval of grading assignments systems as a second read, policy GDD. We saw this last week. We had no questions then. Do we have any questions now?
None from me, President Bueno. This is Carmen.
Thank you. Hearing none, I motion that we approve the grading assessment systems, policy GDD.
This is Carmen Trujillo again. I'll second the motion.
Vote count for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
for Erica De La Rosa,
Aye.
for Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
for Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you. With that, the motion passes, and we're moving on to information and discussion. We are receive and discuss staff use of digital communications and electronic devices as a first read, policy GDD. Who will present?
Madam President, I'm going to have Dr. Ailshire present on this.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Ailshire.
All right, good evening, Madam President, Vice President Trujillo, to our board, our cabinet, and to our community members. This policy is actually GBEF regarding staff use of electronic devices. This is a first read recommendation to our board for a policy update to this area. As we know, technology travels at an incredibly fast rate in terms of its ability to be a resource and tool for our teachers. And so I thank our MIS department led by Director Ashmore and her team, as well as our CNI team who took a look at this policy that was referencing Blackberries and MySpace and worked to update it for our uses as teachers, including the implications of AI technology. So we respectfully submit this first read to the board for consideration.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
None from me, President Bueno. This is Carmen.
Thank you. This is just a first reading. Just a reminder, we're not voting on anything this evening. We're moving on to closing items. Do we have any board member requests?
This is Dr. Vink. I have a few.
Go ahead.
The first request is that the upcoming public meetings be live streamed. The second request is that the public be presented the entire Reimagine plan before we continue these public meetings. Give me just a second. I'm also requesting copies of all school closure or whatever we're calling it when we're moving all of a K-4 and middle school communication to families. So I want to see what communication we've been sending to families regarding those changes in programming or possible changes. And that's all for now.
Thank you. Any other board member requests? Hearing none, moving on to future agenda items. Do we have any?
Go ahead. Sorry. This is Dr. Vink. I have one.
Go ahead.
I'd like receive and discuss and take possible action to approve a policy or guardrail that prevents the superintendent from making significant changes to student programming without board approval. And give me just a second. I might have one more. That's all. Thank you.
Any future agenda items from anyone else?
No, not for me, President Bueno. This is Carmen.
Nothing for me as well. This is Erica.
Thank you. Moving on to adjournment. The time is 6:45 p.m. I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
This is Carmen Trujillo. I'll second the motion.
Vote count for Ms. Jessica Bueno,
Aye.
for Ms. Erica De La Rosa,
Aye.
for Dr. Alicia Vink,
Aye.
and for Ms. Carmen Trujillo.
Aye.
Thank you. Our next governing board meeting is scheduled for February 18th at 5:15 at our district office. And as a reminder, we are conducting public hearing meetings on Thursday, February 13th at 5:15 at Hurd School. Then the following Saturday, February 22nd at 10 a.m. at Capitol School. And the last public hearing meeting will be on Tuesday, February 25th at 5:15 at Dunbar School. Please continue to visit our website and submit questions you may have, and we look forward to hearing from you and working together as we move